Have you noticed there are a lot of talented musicians out there? So how do you stay ahead of the competition? How do you make sure that you get hired and not fired? Well, in this video, I'm gonna share my experiences both as a musician and as someone who hires musicians. So let's get into it. Hello, my name is Adam Hesselbom. I work full-time as a musician and a composer. I'm based in Malmö, Sweden. But I also have been on the other side, being the one that hire musicians for my projects. So I think I can approach this topic, from both angles at the same time. So today I'm going to give you a list of 5 qualities that I think are essential for any musician that wants to have a sustainable career in music. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 1 is being reliable. You need to show up on time and be prepared. And that sounds kind of basic, but I promise you it isn't. There are musicians that will simply not show up to rehearsals or even performances, and please don't be one of those. I said you need to be on time, and what does on time really mean? Well, if a rehearsal starts at 1 o'clock, then you will be sitting in your chair with your instrument, preferably tuned, a couple of minutes before 1 o'clock. Don't show up in the door at the exact moment the rehearsal should start. That's not being on time, that's being late. I can promise you that a musician being late is one of the first things that will just make me not want to call them again. If you have a project that involves 20 players and one of them is 2 minutes late, then you have 20 times 2 equals 40 minutes. 40 minutes wasted for a 2-minute late arrival. And I'm afraid time is money, so if you're wasting time, then you're also kind of wasting money. And in addition, it's really annoying. Now you also need to be prepared, and maybe you decide not to practice, but make sure that is a well-grounded decision. Look at the music, make sure that you can sight read it in rehearsal if you choose not to practice beforehand. Number 2, you need to be organized. So make sure that your sheet music is in order so you don't have to fumble around for a paper, halting the entire rehearsal or anything. In the classical world, there are some gigs that work this way, that all of the sheet music is on the music stand when you arrive to the first rehearsal. But make sure that it is one of those gigs before you decide not to bring any music there, right? And sometimes music is sent as PDF, then you print it, and sometimes they are sent by, snail mail, and then you bring it and you make sure you return it afterwards. You also need to be organized, economically, financially. So make sure you send your invoice within reasonable time. I think 30 days is a good norm. Don't send your invoice 6 months after the project has ended. It's sort of annoying. Make sure that you're easy to get a hold of. Answer your emails, reasonably speedy. Return phone calls, return text messages. Don't be one of those people, living in the shadows that are impossible to find and to reach. Number 3, you need to be flexible. For example, if you're playing with an amateur choir, the choir director might say, "Oh, could you please just play with the altos in that bar?" And just do it. It's not hard. Maybe I'm gonna catch some heat for this, but don't succumb to orchestra sickness, which is what I would call, only being able to do exactly what it says in the sheet music and never anything else. If you are a dedicated orchestra player only doing orchestra gigs, then by all means, do this. But if you have a variety of gigs, then you might find yourself on a gig that requires you to be a little flexible. So don't have orchestra sickness, go with the flow and do the changes that are asked of you. Number 4 is the helicopter view. So that means that you should take some responsibility for, the whole picture, not just your part. have an idea of what you're doing. Where are we going with this? What's the purpose of this? And try to work in that direction for like everyone. Don't just narrow in on your little part of it. Take a broad perspective, the helicopter view of any project. And number 5 is be nice, be friendly. Being a freelance musician, I find, is lonely at times. There are days that I only sit here in my studio and don't talk to anyone. On other jobs, you typically have like colleagues. So when you find yourself on rehearsals and on performances, concerts, be friendly, ask how people are doing, how are their kids doing, what are they up to this weekend, normal stuff. Not only is it, healthy to be a bit social, but it's also kind of smart because those relationship is what is going to give you the next gig. If you are friendly and you have like a solid professional collegial relationship with a lot of people, then you are going to get recommended for other types of gigs. So be a good sport, nice, friendly. So these are the 5 qualities that I think are essential for any musician. But did you notice that I actually left one out? Maybe something important? Yeah, skills and talent. And I'm just assuming that you have the skills that it takes. But being the most virtuoso player will get you nowhere if you don't have these other qualities. There are very few people that are so freaking good at their instruments that they can just ignore being friendly, ignore order and organization, be late all the time. I think there are a handful in the world that can operate like that. And you probably aren't one of them. So make sure that you cultivate these skills as a professional and not only your musical skills. That's my take on this. Well, these are my thoughts. Did I miss anything, you think? Or do you have some other perspectives? Then leave a comment. Maybe you have some questions about working as a musician or hiring musicians. Then also ask me in the comments and I will reply to you. If you found this useful, I hope you will give this video a like and subscribe because I post new videos every week on topics just like this one. And until the next one, cheers!